Just a couple updates. I know some of you have been asking, and two guys that started in the 105 for us who have had to withdraw because of injuries versus Jay Red. Jared Cornelius, obviously, really similar to what he had gone through a little bit earlier. Just a little bit of a back issue that we want to address. They wanted to give him some time away. That time away worked out pretty much coinciding with the start of classes. So what we do by NCAA rules, when someone is in a position like that, we kind of measure how long they're going to be out, whether we need to bring someone in to replace them just because of the number of legs in camp and what best interest fits them. So with Jay Red, all of his experience, we could have kept him in. He'll probably be ready a little bit before school starts, but just because of who he is, the maturity he has, we opted to bring in someone else. He's here on campus going through the rehab and watching film on his own, doing everything he can by NCAA rules to be back ready to rock and roll when classes start. And again, because he's played so much, felt pretty comfortable doing that. The other one that was unforeseen or unplanned, obviously, was T.J. Hammonds. T.J. In a routine play last week during practice got basically a knee injury, an MCL sprain that is going to limit him for about 3 to 4 weeks. Could have him back possibly the week before we get ready to play FAMU, if not for the TCU game for sure. So he'd been having nice progress, was probably going to be a guy that was a reserve role for us at wide receiver and at running back, but he's a pretty quick healer. He's had great spirits. He's in my office today, very, very enthusiastic and energetic. So those are really the two casualties at this point. You saw a couple guys today. Just an update, Armon Watts, don't know the exact details, but I heard him yell during the play. He got basically a bruise on the elbow. Was pretty tender and obviously an injury, but nothing that should be significant as far as loss of playing time or anything like that. And Armand's had a really, really good spring, summer, and fall for us. So we're excited about him going forward. And then who was the other guy? Dylan Hayes. Dylan Hayes, we moved to defensive line. Dylan just rolled up his ankle a little bit on the backside. I did see he's in a boot there. Don't know the specifics other than it wasn't real severe. An ankle sprain, should be out for a short amount of time, but don't expect extended time. And then Scooter Harris, again, was rolled up from the backside, I believe. Nothing of significance to the knee. We were going to brace him and put him back in there, but I felt at that point we're in that second half of the scrimmage. He'd played really well. Just go ahead and sit him for the rest of the day and shouldn't have any lost time with him as well. I know he's braced up, but just kind of precautionary. You get a chance to talk to him a little bit later on. Should be with us only after a couple days, if any, to miss. So really that's it. I've been pretty fortunate. Our guys have been practicing very hard. I like their demeanor. We've had actually classes all the way till Friday. We actually finished up with our finals on Friday, had basically about 80-90% of our guys in classes all the way till Friday, so we were balancing that in conjunction with practice. Now it's kind of nice to put that behind us. In the next 2 weeks, we truly do have fall camp like most of fall camp has been, but with the NCAA rule change, we had to combat the summer hours the last 10 days. So now we're class free. We've got 2 weeks planned out. We're going to grind it out pretty good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Back off a little bit Thursday, Friday, get another good scrimmage next Saturday. The NCAA makes us have a mandatory day off. That'll be all Sundays up until we report to fall camp. Once we report to fall camp, I'll play with the day off a little bit here and there because our first game is on a Thursday. They'll let you be creative with that, but our players know that we'll maximize their time away from here as well. So I really like the demeanor of our team. I think our guys are all work. I've kind of stressed with them and hit with them since last January. A team with few distractions usually focuses better, and they've kept their names out of the headlines for the wrong reasons. They've done a lot of really good things, and I like the fact that they're just letting us concentrate on football and academics and being good people, and I think good things will happen. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. Got to get the mic. Yep. Murph. Oh.
Coach, for someone, let's say for someone who hasn't seen Devwall Whaley play a whole lot, how would you describe his ceiling level to them, and how do you feel like he's ready to take on that? How do you feel like he's ready to take on that number one role?
Great question. So Devwall, in my opinion, when I recruited him, thought he probably had one of the better full-speed jump cuts and movements as a running back that I'd seen in my career. We were really in a hot battle with him in recruiting, and I was very excited when we landed him. And then last year, as the season wore on, we really thought in certain situations he was a guy that we thought would beat out Raleigh, if not by the end of spring and the fall. And hasn't done anything to disappoint us in that regards. I think today he showed he's got some things. I think the greatest thing right now is We really had some answers today given to us behind him. David Williams and also Chase Hayden showed some really good things, and it was fun to see when David had a play or two. The first guy to congratulate him was Devois. So I'm excited. I think Devois also has really good hands. He has the burst that gets you excited, so I think he's got kind of the bag of all tricks.
Yeah, Brad, didn't I guess Hedlund wasn't dressed out. I don't think we saw Tut, and just
Who's
want to Cole Hedlund.
Cole Hedlund, you're right.
And also it looked like Mazza was 5 for 5. How's he doing in camp?
Yeah, first Brito Tut he actually reported, I think it was last Thursday, kind of landed on that knee that he had injury in the past, just had a little swelling, so we opted to I pulled him out of contest Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the hope that we could get him going by Monday. He'd had a real, he's put on about 15 pounds, looks real good. So we pulled him out just strictly. He had some swelling, nothing structurally. He just had a knee that got banged in the wrong spot, and that had been his knee that he missed last year for. So that's why we did that. And then Cole Hedlund had been hitting fairly well, but last week had a little soft tissue with his kicking leg, groin area. So, I wanted to see what the young kids could do, so we just sat Cole down. He'll start back with us on Monday. And, yeah, Blake Mazda, we call him the Mazda. We'll see if he jumps up in classification after his performance today. But he was 5 for 5. And very honest, I saw him hit one low one. I go, what'd you do, bro? And he said, I hit the ground first. So at least he's honest. Still went through, but a kid that's kind of exciting. We've put a lot of pressure on him. He's handled it well. Yep.
Will Gregg and
Will Gregg. Yep.
Jeremy Patton also.
Yep. Will Gregg. I knew you guys were getting on your A game. Will Gregg. I believe it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Had a kind of a helmet to helmet with one of our defenders during practice. The defender was out of it fine, but Will was a little bit concussed, so we moved him to that, and he has to go through a certain amount of protocol. I don't think he'll be back with us any later than Monday or Tuesday next week. I know he was chomping at the bit to go there today, but by protocol he wasn't able to go. And then Jeremy Patton also. Yeah, Jeremy had a really good showing. I tell you what, he's very intelligent, very eager, very smart. He actually tweaked his hammy, I believe. The day when you guys were out there watching a little developmental work at the end, he got rolled up from behind. He had kind of had that flare up during that practice, and that kind of exposed it a little bit more. But should be back. He seems to think he'll be with us Monday. I would say Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest.
Coach, Dre Greenlaw, how's he coming along with his ability to get out there and go full bore? And then after he's ready, how do you see him fitting into this newer role that he'll have in this new defense?
Yeah, Dre's. I'm just excited to get him back, and he obviously his freshman year played extensively. He had 95 tackles as a true freshman. I think that's what everybody kind of goes back to, and I think Dre would be the first to tell you when he made those tackles, he didn't necessarily know what was going on. He just saw ball, got ball. Was playing pretty good football last year to the Alabama game, and then obviously came back and got injured in the bowl game, missed the spring. So he's right on the cusp. I think he really wanted to go today, but we felt it was just better to hold him today. He went through full speed warm-ups and got involved in the scrimmage. I think next week we'll involve him for sure in the heavy work days and find out exactly where he is. I think he'll be played at that will. Our two, if we were to start a game tomorrow, it would be him and Scuda at Mike and Will respectively. But we've got some guys now that have gotten quality reps because of his absence. But I think Dre is just excited to get out there and hopefully start running around in this defense that I think could fit him very well.
Last one, I promise. Brandon Martin and also Giovanni LaFrance had I think 3 TFLs against the one offense. So
Brandon Martin too. He really we did thought there was a chance he might go today, but he's got a little soft tissue as well in the back. But will be back with us on Monday, full go. Just didn't feel it was in his best interest. Missed the last 2 days, so he'll be back with us on Monday and has played very well. Caught the system and hopefully he's going to take a big jump. What I'm excited for these next 2 weeks is we're going to have some good production with those young guys. And then also, Giovanni LaFrance, a guy that missed a little bit of fall camp last year. And then also redshirted, changed his body during the winter workouts, has leaned up quite a bit. I believe he had 3 TFLs, like he said today. He's an explosive player. He's a kid I saw on film, and excited because at linebacker we kind of need another guy or two to come along. Yep.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Santo Ramirez and Corey Hernandez and what contributions they can bring to the upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about Santos Ramirez. Santos is a guy, since we recruited him, he definitely looks like Tarzan, and very well. God gave him a lot of gifts physically, and he has been a little bit banged up. And I think he gave a talk the other night that I thought, he's a captain, and just the growth that he's had since last January has been sensational. Talked about the respect that you got to give back to the game. That he didn't maybe take care of the body, hydration, soft tissue, all the little things that add up to big things in the end. And he stayed relatively healthy. He had a really good spring, really good summer, and obviously got voted captain, and I'm very excited about him. Corey Hernandez, you saw him get called for a holding call over there today. Definitely a high-spirited kid, great intelligence, very fun to be around. Unfortunately, tweaked his hammy last spring, but shows us he's got a chance to be a player. So he's got a redshirt year if it needs to be there, but I think a guy that's probably on that cusp of being ready to either play or redshirt.
Yeah, hey, Brett, I got a couple for you.
Yeah.
A couple small picture. Coylin Jackson's catch today, and then overall thoughts about the defense and how it played in the 3-4
Yeah,
today.
so the first one, Coylin Jackson, obviously you saw him make a great catch over there in the corner against, Ryan Pulley, who probably arguably between him and Andre are two best corners. Coylin's made several plays like that during camp. He's a freshman. He's big. He's athletic. Obviously, mom and dad raised a great kid. He's eager to please. I think Mike is just very excited, as well as Coach Enos, about what he can bring. I would say of the group of freshman receivers, I think you should wire in, and besides the 3 junior college players. So we hit on all 3 junior, Jonathan Nance, Brandon Martin, and Gary Cross, all been very, very, very pleasant surprise, or however you want to say it. They've been fun to be around during fall camp here. Jonathan Nance been a little bit dinged up, but he battled back today. Gary Cross catches everything you throw at him. He's just eager beaver, and he's only been here about 3 or 4 weeks. And then B. Martin, we already talked about. And then I think the freshmen, the 3 that kind of stand out a little bit, Gerard Barnes out of Cabot, right? He's athletic, very, very intelligent, a guy that I think will help us a lot. I think also Coylin Jackson that you just mentioned, and then there's one more. Huh? Well, with Davion Warren. Davion's probably the one, if we continue to adapt him and see exactly, because I think he can bring us a little bit more in the return game. Malik Barkley will probably be a redshirt guy, and that was it for the White House.
Then I had a big picture question, too.
Defense?
The factors that go into being a contending team, how many of those do you feel like you're on that route?
I think that a lot of defense is about your swag, about your confidence, about the way that you feel about yourself before you walk on the field, and I think our guys have gotten very confident. I want to see, Chase Hayden made a big play against our ones. I want to see exactly what happened there. I do know Chase has proven to us that he can make something out of nothing. But I want to know how that ball hit the end zone line, and then obviously the long ball to Coylin over Ryan's head. So we got a few things to obviously keep going, but I like the demeanor. They kind of just all have a good personality, good work ethic. No one's bigger than the program. Got a lot of guys. They're not really a lot of stars, just a lot of guys that work. But it was fun to see a couple guys make plays today, especially at the linebacker core. And then, some guys that are unsung heroes that just kind of show up and have a lunch pail mentality that I think will be really good players for us. But I like the diversity that the 3-4 brings. I like the response that they've given their coaches. I think John Scott and Chad Walker have been good hires for us. Throw that in with Vernon and Paul, and we got a good scenario.
I guess D. Walker, I think, may have gotten banged up. And also, just how do you feel Grant Morgan has done with as much opportunity as he's had?
Yeah, I think D. Walk's had a shoulder. He's been nursing around a little bit. It hasn't taken him out of anything, so maybe you saw him over there working, but I know he's in at the end. So he's not limited anyway, just a shoulder he needs to continue to rehab and work on. And then Grant Morgan's been exciting. He's a guy that shows up play after play. I think Vernon and Paul would tell you that he's probably one of the more intelligent players on our defense side of football, just knows every position inside and out. Once you say it, you better know it. I know I was talking with coaches at Greenwood, and they made comment that Grant, during his time there, probably knew the offense, defense, and special teams better than any coach that was there. That's what kind of kid he is. He absorbs everything, and anything that we tell him, he is able to regurgitate it without any waiver.
Hey, after what Frank Ragnow went through last year, how have you seen him change or maybe grow coming back both on and off the field?
Yeah, great question. So Frank and his growth he's probably leaned up even a little bit more. It's kind of funny. He's 315 pounds And, a lot of people would, by looking at him, think he looks like 280, 290. Just he's done a tremendous job in the weight room, very powerful. I think, the scouts are going to be impressed when they see what he weighs because he could be a 320, 330-pound guy that runs really, really well. I think he I give a lot of praise to his mother. She, I know, continues to work with him. I talk to him as much as I can. He'll pop in your office and just sit down and talk a minute. And I explained to him, hey, the days that you've had are normal. I lost a sister early in life, and so many people reached out to him when that happened. I think he's just, over the course of time, been able to grasp it. He's never going to lose sight of it. His dad was a tremendous person in his life, and I think just as you go through time, that gets a little bit easier, never forgotten. But I think that's probably helped him. And I think the other part, Frank always gravitated towards the older players, and even when he was a younger player, he was very close with, now Travis Swanson was back all summer, so to have a guy that might be one of the more premier centers in the league that's a free agent this year to work out with him every day was pretty cool for him. In addition, him and Sebastian are really close, him and Skip, so I think to see those guys now playing at that next level has been able to always give him that focus.
Protections in the offensive line, particularly the left side with Colton and Yelda, I thought they seemed to hold up today. How's it been in camp?
Yeah, we've been really – I thought Colton the last week has come along as just as good as anybody. His first week, there was a day when I think things just got to him a little bit. I brought him in and shared with him a story of a couple linemen that I've had in my past that everybody was expecting big things, and they got big on them in a hurry, and they let it happen. And you just got to have the same mentality as a wide receiver as a corner. You got to have a short mentality or a short memory when you have a bad play. Just don't let it affect the next one. So I'm excited. Colton, he got after some guys 2 days ago on inside that were really impressive. Today there was really one play where they gave up some leakage, but I think it was more on the back protection than him. So he's taking a lot of pride in it. I think him and Yelda in particular over on the left side. Yelda had that one offsides, and I jumped in his cam pretty good. His strength has got to be his mental game, and I like the progress those two have made. Brian Wallace has made some nice strides as well. So I think we'll keep pressing those guys. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to really press those guys as well as our top backups in the offensive line to come along.
What's the latest with Monteric Brown? And also, you've had a lot of scholarship or commitments come along. Where are you at in terms of number of scholarships in that 2018 class when you include the blue shirts?
I talked to Buster Wednesday night. We're right in the finishing steps. Really, I think everything that we've been told, if everything holds true with what they believe it's going to be and what it is on paper, it's going to take paperwork processing. I don't think – I was kind of hopeful that we might get him in, at some point before classes start. But unless there's somebody that drops out, maybe 3 or 4 days out, I think he'll probably be getting eligible or ready to be cleared by the NCAA right about when school starts. He's done a tremendous job of working very hard to get obviously we would love to have had him here 2 months ago, but sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want, and the kid's never lost sight of that. So I'm excited about him for that regards. And then as far as, we have a small class, and I can't talk a lot of specifics, as you know, with 2018 recruiting, but it's been fun from the standpoint it's a small class, so you got to be very selective. I think our first 5 or 6 commits, not that I care about ratings, but we're all highly, highly rated kids not only on our boards but nationally, and this group seems to take a lot of pride in what they do together. Even when one kind of fell the other way, the others quick rallied, So I like the way this class is building up, and should be a typical class, but smaller in numbers. The only thing that may change, obviously, is if you have unforeseen transition. A few juniors, maybe if they come out early. I think the part I've learned here is never be surprised in December. With the plan. So the other thing that's really, we could send out offer letters beginning August 1st. So we sent those out, and we kind of sent out for the first time. We sent out 2 letters with kids that are committed to your program that I expect them to sign that very first day in December. And then we'll actually turn January, because I think every kid that will commit to us will sign in December. We don't play that hat game on signing day, So we'll actually use January kind of as our new May to go out and recruit the entire month of January like we would in May. So it kind of escalates everything up a little bit.
Hi, Coach. Can you speak briefly about how Kevin Richardson has come out of the summer and going into fall camp and assumed the leadership role that you've given him as captain? And then also, can you speak briefly on how having him and his brother Two Reach has impacted the family dynamic of the program?
Yeah, K-Rich has been a guy that I've loved since day one. He came in as a walk-on, really undersized, but you could tell he had something in him. So I knew it was going to be a guy in the making, and then the redshirted him, played that first year, played that second year, and then I think probably the hardest day for me last year was not just the day of his injury, but I remember in particular the Alabama game. It was home. I came through the locker room early and caught him he was a mess. He was a mess for all the right reasons. He was very upset, very emotional because he couldn't play on that day, and there was a small indication of how much it means to him. And now to be elected a captain, I've had a group message going all summer with those captains. Those 4 guys have been the most interactive group of captains I've ever been around. Very, very much in charge of this football team. All 4 are very unique. I think K-Rich is always one of the first to respond, own it. K-Rich, even though he's small in stature, is not afraid to speak his piece to anybody that he believes needs to have their ear bent a little bit. Just a great indicator of what he is. And I think actually we have his brother, obviously Too Rich, but we have his sister as a trainer. I believe there's 5 of them total. I think we got most of the Richardson family here. So I love that kind of stuff. We got a lot of family dynamics. Hayden Henry, who's here now, right, too. I mean, I am one that is never going to undersell the genetic factor of how people act and behave, because there's a lot of great indicators.
Brett, I think it was Monday you mentioned some of the older wide receivers needed to step their game up.
Yeah.
Would you say LaMichael Petway smells the coffee?
I did. And I'm not. I probably say those things, and maybe I do have intent at some point. But Mike is just. So Mike's whole recruiting story is so unique. He was committed to Ole Miss. He was in a situation where he could have just went the other way. We played a little recruiting game to get him here, which showed me that he loved Arkansas. I always used to give him heat. He used to wear the same shirt every Saturday, so I'd see this guns out, piped up player over there on the sideline, and I love the kid's demeanor and who he is and what he is, and again today though, he had 80%. He's 80-20 for me right now. I need him to be 100, and he make a couple good plays. He had the holding call that brought the play back. Makes a couple ridiculous catches. He's by far had the best growth in the last 10 days in our program since he's been here. So the arrow is up. I'd buy a lot of stock, and now we just got to finish it off.
I guess this will be
all actively participate.
This will be the last of a lot of Allens you've had under center in your time here. How far has Austin come for you, and what's your comfort level just having him in year 2?
Yeah, I talked to Bobby if he wanted to start it back up again. Him and the wife said they'll pass. But Austin, they're all so uniquely different too, man. I mean, obviously you guys know BA and Bobby, and if you've been around their brother and his sister, just every one of them is different. Austin, I thought I pulled him out. I didn't plan to pull him out today at halftime, but he just performed so well. I really wanted to see what those other Qs did with the 1-0 line, so that's why I did it. Austin's competing against, I think, against all the other quarterbacks in the SEC. He's not competing against anybody here. He's really learned that for us to get to where we want to be, he's got to do that. I've kind of been throwing some stats at him, maybe quarterbacks at other leagues that have basically the same numbers, and where they are in the national spotlight versus where he is, and a lot of that is just winning. His numbers are comparable or better than a lot of people. Now, I don't sit around and create hype, and so there's a lot of guys that haven't fired a shot or getting a lot of hype, and I just kind of like it that way. And I think Austin buys into it, but the kid's been locked in. I'm gonna cherish every moment I have with him. I think he doesn't need a lot of outside motivation, because I think he's got more than enough internally to get us for everybody.
And how did you think the younger quarterbacks did today?
Yeah, nice lead in, huh? Well, Cole and Ty have both really. It's kind of like they both decide before practice what kind of practice they're both going to have, because it's like the same. If one of them does well, the other one does well the same day, and if one of them, maybe there's less to be desired, the other one does the same thing. So I'm trying to get them to separate themselves. I think Dan and I got to come up with a good plan these next 2 weeks to let both of them kind of have their moment and see how they handle their moment. But they're two different guys, you know what I mean, running the same offense. It's just amazing to me to see each guy step into the huddle with the same characters and come out with different results, but yet kind of the same patterns. Cole obviously has attributes that are his strengths, you know, his arm, his size. He definitely lacks nothing in confidence. He thinks he can do anything. Ty is a very quiet. He quoted his father there after practice in a what we call cheer. Ty doesn't make many mistakes. He's very grounded. Makes a couple plays where you're like, whoa, you know, that he was able to get some things done. So I love them both. It's great competition. The theory that competition brings the best out of you is working for both those guys very, very well. Yes.
Coach, not exactly a question about this team, but Jerry going into the Hall tonight, how cool is that for him to represent this program?
Did you hear Jerry? You talking about Coach Jerry Jones? Yeah. I was going to close with that. Just he's obviously getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. We got meetings tonight, but I'll tape it and I'll let our kids see it. The Jones family, obviously Jerry leads the whole thing off, and for me to grow up, I grew up in the era, and I was a Cowboy fan. My brother was a Vikings fan. My dad was a Bears fan, and so I got the most wins. I got to enjoy it a little bit. Grew up with all the Randy Whites and the defensive players. I watched them and watched the Super Bowls. So for me, it's like living a dream, to get to know the family and be around them. The thing that has been great for me, that when they built the Jones Center, it's been a game changer. So not only has he changed the perspective of the Dallas Cowboys, he's been a game changer in our program, his family. Steven, I work a lot with Steven on the day-to-day details, and then also, to have Skip down there to see Sam Irwin-Hill punting, kicking, and doing all that, and then Travis Frederick is one of my favorite from my old spot, to see so many guys that are now connected there. But I will be in meetings tonight when Jerry gets to speak, but I'll definitely record it, and I'll have our whole team watch it, and it'll be a special night for, I'm sure the Razorbacks will get mentioned. I know there's quite a few of them down there to celebrate with him, and truly one of the greatest of all time in the world of football, not just college, but in the NFL, but just the world of football in general, and then obviously here in the state of Arkansas.
What has the Allen family meant to you in your time here at Arkansas?
What has the Allen family meant to me? It was kind of funny. So for some of you that know my history pretty good, so I hired a guy by the name of Mike Markinson that was an old O-line coach here, and I was up at the other school, and we were in spring recruiting, and we were talking about national prospects, and the name Austin Allen came up, and we were going through them, and I didn't care if they were committed. One of the things I don't care if you're committed or not. If we like the way you play, we were going to recruit you. And I brought up Austin Allen, and he had already committed to. He was from Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I think at the time he was already committed to Arkansas. And I remember Mike Markinson saying, "Coach, depending on what happens in that scenario, because it was after the incident happened here, he said, depending on what happens, you might be able to get a shot at a guy, but his dad's on staff, his older brother's already there, and I'm kind of like, okay." And it's just one of those little mental notes now that you flash back to, and then to come on campus, and we were really thin at quarterback. I got a call from a transfer quarterback that day. I'd recruited Jacoby Brissett, one of my best friends, Jack Daniels. It sounds like a joke, but it's truth. Jack Daniels is a high school coach down at Dwyer High School. I had recruited all three of those. He had a group of three, Kurt Legit, who went to Tennessee, a tight end that went to Florida State, and then Jacoby had gone to Florida, and we had been right up in the running. We had official visited him. I thought we were going to get him. Then he was going to go to Miami, ended up going to Florida. Long story short, I had to make a decision literally in that first day on the job whether I wanted to bring him on, or if not, then I referred him or pushed him on to NC State because Dave was my buddy there. So I kind of had to make a quick decision about BA before I even knew him, and I just went on, here's a dad that's been here, name is established, brother's committed, watched a little bit of film, I'm rolling my dice. I'm going with what I think BA can be. And to have that whole story pan out now and the way BA is playing at that level, I'm so excited for him. He came to my office just a couple weeks ago, and to see former players get the success that they're having, no one gave him a shot, and he literally is in the NFL now and a legit opportunity. To see Austin grow, to see him succeed the way he did, battle through the adversity he went through last year, and to see him play the way he is right now, it's a lot of fun. I love Bobby having him in my office. Their family is exceptional. They truly represent everything that's great about college athletics, and that's pretty special.
Coach, how do you feel about your fullbacks, and what kind of a role do you see for them in the offense this year?
How do I feel about our fullback? Kendrick Jackson, in my opinion, it can be very special. You know, he's a kid that in high school I recruited him as a linebacker. He saw that he was going to be sitting on the bench, asked to play fullback. I let him do that. He's really grown. Here's a kid, during the summer, he took 12 hours, all right, of summer school. Like most people take 3 or 6, 9's a lot. He took 12 hours. I mean, he's so goal-oriented. He's from a little town, Haynesville, Louisiana. Probably one of the more entertaining visits I've ever been on in my life on a recruiting trip. I love the kid to death. Now, he won't say boo. I mean, you guys can all go ask him. He ain't going to talk to you very much. But he does speak with his pads, and our kids really, really, really like him, and I think he could be on the bridge of something special. And then Hayden Johnson behind him is kind of a dual threat for us at fullback and tight end, and again, doing a really nice job. He had a big play today. Hopefully continue to grow from there. And I think Dan likes 21 personnel, and 22, which is our fullbacks involved, and we'll get more of it.
I just wanted to bring someone up that has some preseason honors, Ryan Pulley, and his how he's been doing, with the one-on-one coverage, and how he went up there only as a sophomore and did so well against all these SEC wide receivers.
Yeah.
Are you going to be using him more against like the star receivers that other teams have?
You know, a great question. So Ryan is getting some preseason accolades, as he should. He's a good player. I think he got humbled today by Coylan, so he knows he's got to be at the thing about corner is you got to be on your game every play, any day, because you never know when one's going to go over your head. So I love Ryan's demeanor. He's probably been one of the best, I would say, maturity growth guys since January to lead the charge there. He's his own independent soul. Once in a while I'll send him a tweet, and he'll just look at me and smile. I love building a relationship with him. He's one of those kids out of Florida that was, in my opinion, totally under-recruited and is going to go on. And I think he'll have a good junior year, and maybe in January or December we'll have something to talk about. But if he continues to grow and play the way that he can, I think he's going to be one of the premier players on our team.